have his material.
And Rosen,
Here, and I have my materials.
Nicole Garcia,
Here, and I have my materials.
and I'm here to have my materials. All right. I need we have a quorum for our meeting. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve.
I need a second, please.
Second.
Is we move to second that we approve the consent agenda?
I
Question?
just had one, yes, I just had one quick question, and I did ask, and I think it was answered. It was about the materials that we were disposing of, and I saw the word Meraki quite a bit. I think it was explained to me that those were hotspots that were being,
Karen, yes.
yes, okay. So they're just no longer serviceable, they're just going,
Yes.
okay. That was my only question, thank you.
And then just to note, there was not a grant in this month's packet.
No grant. All right. Is the move to second that we approve the consent agenda? We'll call the roll. Ruth?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Director's report, Stephanie.
Sure, so I'm really excited about this partnership we have with some researchers at the University of Notre Dame. Maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, I heard a talk at Indiana Library Federation about the epidemic of loneliness. And then the Surgeon General came out with his report in May, about loneliness as an epidemic, and that loneliness is more detrimental to your health than 6 alcoholic beverages a day. Yeah, so I really believe strongly that libraries can play a role in connecting people to each other. It's part of our mission. And it's something we see happens all the time. I like to tell the story about how when I started a baby story time, my first baby story time had 2 moms and 2 babies. And they are now still friends in middle school, and they didn't know each other before they came to story time. So we know that happens in libraries all the time, but how do we show that? And so the researchers from the University of Notre Dame will help us create a study to show that what we're doing in libraries really is building connections and contributing to the solution. So we're really excited about that. We've met with them twice now, and we'll see what happens next. We'll keep you posted. We've received everyone's self-evaluations. Managers are in the annual review process. This is all personnel stuff. We added an assistant youth manager to the youth services team in order to free up the youth services manager to really work on that system-wide stuff like South Bend Ready, the Summer Reading Club, and all of those system-wide projects that we have going on. We have a couple of other staffing changes of note. That youth services assistant manager position is filled internally with Elaine Albaugh. She's going to be great at that. Jill Williams, who you met last month to talk about Summer Reading Club, is moving on to work at Notre Dame. So we're sad to see her go, but excited for the opportunities for her there. Another internal promotion, Patrice Dato will be the new manager at Lakeville. She's a staff member that took advantage of our partial tuition reimbursements and attained her bachelor's degree, and then was eligible to be a manager. So we're excited. Patrice is fabulous too, and we're excited to have her at Lakeville. And then, we moved Lisa to special projects, director of special projects, which left that gap in development. So we hired somebody whose specialty is development, and she's here tonight. I saw Bridget. So Bridget has joined us to do that development work for the library. Staff benefits, Kara and Anjanette will talk about later. And then we're working on our branch master plan. In the last month, we've had with MKM, 9 staff workshops, 5 focus groups, 3 community town halls, a handful of meetings with individual stakeholders, and 2,400 survey responses. So, phew, that was,
That's incredible.
that was a lot. And so what you had in your board packet, you're starting to see the development of that master plan, at least in a draft stage. And I just wanted to point out a couple of things. One interesting thing that's coming out of this, and it's on page 8, is that Zach is looking at sort of a busyness metric, which is looking at use per square foot. So what is happening in a 10,000 square foot building? The numbers are obviously going to be smaller than at a 25,000 square foot building, but how does that stack up if those buildings were the same size? So he's looking at that for us. And then we're going to break that down just a little bit more and see particularly at those places next to schools, where are they, we know they're busiest right after school, but what does it look like the rest of the day? Because our numbers all get lumped into one. So that's been interesting. Page 10, you can see that we have a really good representation on our survey results from all of our locations. And really for all age groups, we're really well represented in responses. And a lot of people who come monthly or weekly to the library, and one of the things we talk about is how do we get those people who rarely or only come a few times a year? What can we do to bring them and have them come to the library more often? 94% of survey responders were classified as promoters, expressing a high willingness in recommending the library to others, which is phenomenal. Zach does these types of surveys all over the state and sometimes out of state. And that's just a really high response, positive response from the public. And you'll note on page 11, obviously super positive survey responses, but the right-hand side of that, where we're talking about what is really extremely important to people. People ask me all the time, are books going away in libraries? No, you can see our number one, what is most extremely important is an accessible collection. And we heard that in our focus groups and community groups too. What's really interesting is the high priority that our patrons gave to sustainability and energy efficient buildings. Like, I love that topic, but you don't always know that everybody is thinking about that too. So the fact that 84% of our responders said that is a high priority for them, I think helps us sort of reinforces that we do want to go in that direction with our buildings. And then page 12 is just sort of senior leadership first run at what are going to be our guiding principles as we do design going forward. And we want to make sure that we always put the community first, right? It's not about the librarians. We're here for the community. Smart function. So we want our spaces to really work in an intelligent way, flexible. And then inspired design. We really want our spaces to reflect the neighborhoods that they're in. And we want them to be beautiful spaces. We think we owe that to the people of South Bend. And then the final, so any questions about that?
I have a question further back on
Sure.
page 6 about accessibility, walkability.
Yes.
I mean, that may or may not be something that's achievable in the more rural sites, but why did we look at that?
It's always interesting. Like you take a place like, well, Center is actually a little surprising as a walkability score of a 7 with that. There's a development right there. So it's very,
Southfield, yeah.
Yeah.
All around.
that's very walkable there, but most people, if they're going to Center, are gonna have to drive. But that impacts a little bit how much parking you need. Are you gonna put in bike racks, which we typically do, but all that kind of conversation, and then really, who does the library serve? So if you look at our data around Western and LaSalle and Tut and River Park, they really do serve their tiny little neighborhood. That's the people who use it the most. Where people are more likely to drive to a center or Francis or Maine. So walkability plays into space needs and just how is the understanding how the library is being used in the community.
It did surprise me about Center, because.
Because of
it's-
that.
Looks like the neighborhood, but maybe the people who live in that neighborhood aren't good,
Well, I think
or aren't walking.
they do, and let me see if I can remember how Zach explains this. So if you go to this walkscore.com, which is in the bottom left, you can put any address in there and it is not necessarily walkability to the branch, but it is the walkability of the neighborhood. So do you have to get in a car to run your errands? And pretty much anybody in that neighborhood would need to. Even though the library is really close and easy to walk to.
It's not officially, I live across from somewhere, not officially a 55+ community or anything, but it easily could be. It's an older neighborhood
Sure.
and they're not gonna walk so far.
Well, and to walk, you'd have to walk to Ireland. Almost in order to get your groceries or your gas.
Yeah,
or-
that's not
So,
to the library.
to the library and that's about it.
Does that include having sidewalks?
I don't know if it assesses, no.
I don't think there's.
Zach said it's like as the crow flies.
Okay.
So it's smart, but it's dumb, like a lot of technology is these days, right? So it can it gives you a general sense of things, but it's not as accurate as if you're really going in there with GIS mapping and giving it all of the possible parameters and sidewalks because sidewalks make a huge difference in walkability.
Thank you.
Mhm. And then, finally, we did work out an MOU with Cultivate Food Rescue. You have that. I just received the signed copy of that, this morning. And we did pull out the portion that refers to food safety guidelines and a couple of other changes that Mr. Masters suggested. And so, I would request that we add that as an agenda item in other business,
Finished with.
unfinished business. There you go.
I have a question about this. It says that food is ordered by the library. How does the library know what to order?
That is for our after-school snacks that we've been doing with Cultivate for a while.
Okay.
They have an online portal. They already have been providing us with a lot of our after-school prepackaged. That's all prepackaged.
Okay.
Are you done?
That's it.
That's it. Any other questions for Stephanie? We'll get to the MOU, unfinished business. Now I'll entertain a motion to accept her report. Second,
A second.
to move and properly second, that we accept the director's report. Any questions? I will call the roll. Ruth,
Hi.
Alan,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Nicole,
Hi.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Hi.
and I vote aye. Thank you. Patron engagement report. Jenny?
All right, I'm doing something a little different today because some of our amazing, wonderful staff made a video. And it's a department that does not get reported on regularly for their monthly statistics. So in 1 second, I'm gonna give Bridget the go ahead, but this is from our events and venues department. And it gives you a glimpse at what they do and the number of people that they're serving here in this building. Hit it, Bridget.
Roll.
They decided to liven up one of our staff meetings. So that just gives you a look at the number of people that are using this building right here. I also wanted to include the branches have meeting rooms as well, and this year to date, we've had about 5,170 meeting room attendees use the branch spaces as well, and that's just our patrons. So lots of people using all of our meeting room spaces here in the library. What I have for you today.
Very good. Any questions, additional questions for Jenny? Jenny? If not, we will, make a motion to accept her report.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
it's been moved and second to accept the patron engagement report with much gratefulness. I will call the roll. I'll start with Nicole.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Christine.
Aye.
Alan.
Aye.
Ruth.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you. Financial report. Treasurer.
As you can see, the fund report and the expenditures are in the packet as they always are. If you have any questions, please let me know. Just some highlights of what's going on in the business office. And we are still in the midst of the Kugel-Lawton/Forbes component unit audit. They are asking requests. We are dwindling down the requests. Because there are a lot of documents they're asking for, so just trying to go back and forth with them to give them what they really need, but no completion date is, as of known right now. We are also, completing some information for the workers' comp, audit with Hanover. We're looking for continued efficiencies. We've been looking at some software, that obviously goes between, the business office and HR, so we will be moving to ADP next year. So we hope to be able to eliminate some of our standalone applications and wrap those into ADP and hopefully make everyone's life a little bit more efficient, more reporting, some better things. So that will be coming out in April, but we have, we're moving forward with that. We were looking at a purchase order system, but we decided we're not going to do that this year, but we'll still continue to look for efficiencies for the business office. Overall, our expenditures as of, completing 3 quarters, we're at about 52% of the budget, which is amazing, right? So we're really doing well with where we are with the budget overall. Of course, there's some categories that are a little over, some categories that are a little less, but we're doing really well with what we need to do, across the board. And we are keeping in mind with any of our wages and material overhead, what percentages we need those to be at, whether it's for state board of accounts or just internally what we'd like those numbers to be. And then most of you all know that, we put the Tuck Ranch, has the, solar panels. And so we're only a couple months in, but I am able to see a little bit of, if we're getting efficiencies with those. And after 2 months, the first month we saved about 37%. And for, September, 36.9%. So we're seeing some savings. Hopefully we'll see what happens over the winter and as the months go on, but I think that it's been, a positive, at least going forward in the 2 months that are going forward. Just really quick, we're still moving forward with what we have in our accounts, about 5 million in the, main account, and our investment yield is at 5.35%. So it's continuing to move.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
The year's almost over, unfortunately. We're at 53% of what we.
Overall.
I was actually gonna comment
Okay,
on that.
okay.
So part of what we have done, like we know meeting rooms need new flooring, like we know we have all of these needs that we're not taking care of right now because of the branch plan. So the goal is to move some of that money
Okay.
into rainy day at the end of the year here, so we can use that in addressing the needs. We just didn't want to hit it hodgepodge.
Right.
We want the plan in place first. So we are running particularly low in that buildings and repair, knowing that this is coming down the pike.
That's
Yeah.
what branches.
Yep, yep.
On the similar lines to the solar panels, I think our vehicle, our truck is electric, is that
Mhm.
correct?
It is.
How is that? Is that showing up as?
You know what, I will have to look and dive into that, cause I forgot about, that we had the truck that's all electric.
Well, we
so
haven't
don't
put
use
any
gas.
gas in
Yeah,
it.
we don't have
No.
to put any gas.
Don't try, please.
Look at it.
So
There's
I'll
no
have to
place to
look,
put it.
I'll put a note in my report to, look at what the fuel, see
Consumption
what
within.
variances we have within the fuel, for the year.
I'm comfortable it will be huge. I've got an electric car and I've seen the same thing, but I was thinking more in terms, is the range adequate? Is it serving the needs? Is it-
I would ask Karen if she's had any questions about that.
It makes the daily run and still has energy to go,
Great.
so, yeah,
Perfect.
totally suiting your needs.
And the perfect application of that technology, because you have a known range you're gonna work in,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it doesn't go out of the county.
right? Might not come back.
Any further questions for Jeanette? Not, I will entertain a motion to accept the financial report.
Second,
It's been moved and properly second to accept the financial report. Any question? If not, I will call the roll. I will start with Ann,
Aye.
Nicole,
Aye.
Christine,
aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Ruth,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Thank you. Unfinished business, we will talk about the memorandum of understanding to cultivate. So,
Yes, so you saw the update beginning of last week, maybe the end of the week before, and so one of the concerns is on the food safety guidelines. We just pulled that bullet point entirely out of there. And, Mr. Masters made a few other recommended changes and signed off on it for me to send back to Cultivate on Friday morning. They signed it before the end of the day on Friday, and I received it back this morning as our legal counsel had sent it, so that's where it's at and ready for your approval.
I will move to approve.
do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, okay. You second, so.
Second.
It's been moved and approved that we approve the memorandum of understanding for Cultivate Food Rescue. Any questions? If not, I will call the roll. I will start with Nicole,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Ruth,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Done deal. Thank you. All right. New business. Kara and Patrick.
Yeah, so, there are two agenda items. But it's all on the one memo. So I think we're voting on the policy change first, correct? And then moving on to the rates with
Right,
Patrick.
right.
But I believe a vote is required for both.
It is, yeah.
So currently, anyone working 20 hours or more is eligible for health insurance. And as that's become less and less frequent, or normal, I should say, in the benefits environment, and as those costs have gone up, we've started making fewer positions that are eligible for those, and we'd like to change our eligibility to 30 hours per week, which is in line with the ACA requirements.
Affordable Care Act.
Yes, sorry, Affordable Care Act requirements for benefit offerings. And then grandfather the people who are in those positions currently that would no longer be eligible if they're taking the insurance, which is only 10 employees, we would grandfather them in the plan for as long as they stay in those positions.
And part of what we run into at that 20 hours a week is we have many people who work 16 hours. And some people who work 19 hours. If you average over 20 in a quarter, you have to start providing them the health insurance as well. And so that reduces our ability to use our part-time people in a really flexible way. If they pick up one 8-hour shift, because of a call off or because they're short-staffed or whatever the case may be. If they can't do that on a very regular basis because it tips them over. So by putting it at that 30-hour mark, it really affords us a lot more flexibility to offer shifts to our part-time staff.
Right. We currently have 42 employees who work less than 20 hours a week. And all of those folks would give a lot more flexibility to those departments where those people work.
Questions?
Yeah, I just wonder, how does that impact the number of people who would be willing to work under the 30 hours? How can I say this?
I'm sorry.
How does that impact the number of people working, say at 20 hours, the number of people who are willing to work without that insurance?
I actually, so we we only have 14 positions right now between that 20 and 29 hour range. And I think there are quite a few people that would prefer to get more hours than than the 16 that they're currently getting. Or I think it would actually be easier to recruit for a 24-hour position than for a 16-hour position, regardless of the benefit offerings. Because people are looking at this point for more pay, take-home pay.
And those hours or those part-time positions are usually the lower wage positions. Often it's the second income in the home. It's not, you don't need it for the health insurance. But we are taking care of the people who, currently.
Any other questions? Alan?
No, I was just gonna
Oh.
make a motion.
Go ahead. Move.
I move that we approve the proposed health insurance eligibility change as set forth in this memo. I especially like the idea that we're able to grandfather in existing employees. I think that would have been my concern, but given that we've taken care of that, you were able to do that. I don't have a problem. I think it makes sense. So I move.
You have a second?
Second.
You are. Right.
I haven't done any seconding.
Because I moved second that we move to the proposed health insurance eligibility change. Any other question? If not, I will call the roll and I'll start with Ruth.
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Nicole,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, the health insurance renewal.
Okay, so before I bring Patrick Carpinoa from Gibson, the one thing I wanted to note was that we are recommending an additional benefit offering for our full-time staff, or for all staff, I apologize, of voluntary life insurance coverage for the employee and spouse and children, all voluntary. So that would be a new employee-funded benefit. But I will hand it over to Patrick to talk about the rest of the renewal.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for allowing me to be here today. As Kara mentioned, Patrick Carpinall with Gibson, a partner in the firm, and privileged to have the opportunity to work with the library on the benefits offering. So in your packet, try to break this out into two plan components. We're going to start with the health insurance, if that's okay. So within the health insurance offering today, the plan is self-insured, meaning the library pays the claims up to a certain threshold in which insurance then kicks in above and beyond that. And so the first component of the plan is the stop loss insurance. So as we partnered with the library, we went out to 12 stop loss carriers to get competitive proposals, both from contract terms and also pricing standpoint. What we found is a partnership that we're proposing today with Virtue Health Consortium, which is a pool of other like-minded employers trying to control the unit cost of healthcare to keep premiums down and plan designs as best as we possibly can. And so within that consortium, the pool comes the large volume, the law of large number comes better contract terms and conditions. And so part of this move would provide a no new laser contract in perpetuity for the library. So what a laser is the stop loss insurance company has the ability to pull an individual or individuals out and apply a separate deductible limit to the library, which adds additional exposure. They can't exclude the condition, but they can apply a higher level deductible for a certain individual within the population that the library is on the hook for financially above and beyond what a plan member spends. So that it's a layer, yes, question.
Can you, break that down with an example?
Yeah, so, just really simple, if the library has a liability of $50,000 per individual on the plan, I'm diagnosed with a healthcare condition that equates to large claims dollars, say I'm gonna have 200,000 in medical claims throughout the year. A stop loss carrier today, how your contract's written, they can say at renewal, they can say, everybody has a $50,000 limit that the library's on the hook for in claims expense. And except for Patrick, the library is now on the hook for the first $200,000 of claims experience. That's what in the stop loss world they refer to as a laser. So they laser me out of the standard contract and place me on my own little island at it. So the library in that example just picked up an additional $150,000 of liability. Does that help?
Yes.
So this, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So this contract would protect us against a stop loss insurance company placing a new laser on an individual. So we could come in with one. Once in the first year, we could come in with a laser. We're not gonna have any lasers, but once we're in, they cannot place a laser on the library. The additional piece is we have a 50% rate cap. So there are insurance companies out there that will provide a no new laser contract, but there's no cap in the increase in premium that they can charge. So in essence, they can't place a laser, they'll just increase the premium through the roof to absorb the cost of that laser artificially. Does that make sense? So 50% is not ideal, but it's only 50% on the stop loss premium, not on the total budget number.
So how does that compare with what we had previously? Were we subject to that?
Yes, you were subject to lasers. You actually have a laser on your plan today. That will be removed as we enter into the new contract. So you don't have laser protection. You don't have a rate cap in your contract today. So those are two plan enhancements. The other enhancement we're recommending in this transition to Virtue is today you have you buy what's called specific. So that's that $50,000 deductible limit. And then you buy what's called aggregate insurance, which is, think of an umbrella, worst case scenario, you have a max ceiling that you could hit and pay claims. Today, you have no run in. So if we go on, let's just say December 27th, I have a surgery, it's a $150,000 surgery. We go into the new plan year, January 1, 2024. Because it happens so late in the year, that claim doesn't actually get billed to the insurance company, processed and paid until likely March of 2024. The library is still on the hook for that claim, that $150,000 claim. However, that today, the way the contract is written, that aggregate umbrella, all the claims that are adding up to that gives the max liability to the library. You get no credit for that $150,000 claim paid on your aggregate stop loss contract today. So it would be your max liability plus an additional $150,000. So we got that corrected so that you have what's called run-in coverage on your aggregate protection. That makes sense? High level. Okay. The recommendation to move to Virtue results in a 23% reduction in cost premium, which is phenomenal in a market that's in the insurance world we call hard. There's a lot more frequency and severity of large claims, and so we're seeing the stop loss markets start to go up at a faster clip than normal. So we're putting the right programs in place. We're managing claims appropriately where you're attracted out in the insurance marketplace, which is good. And hopefully we can continue on that trajectory. The the recommendation, the next component of your plan is called your third-party administrator, your TPA, which is Allied today. They're the organization that processes and pays your claims, coordinates with the network that employees use to access healthcare. And then your pharmacy benefit manager, PBM, which manages the pharmacy side of the health plan, the network access to the pharmacies, the drug formularies, and all of the above. The recommendation is to stay with both Allied and RX Care Alliance. The only change that we've made in the benefit of the library is for the library to receive 100% of rebates on drugs that are filled through your plan. So today you're not getting any rebates, and Allied is retaining those on your behalf. So we've done the analysis. It's financially beneficial for the library to retain those rebates. And so we were able to get that contract adjustment done, keeping the same TPA and PBM. Any questions on that piece? Okay, and then the last component of this is just the plan design and what employees pay in monthly employee contributions. The recommendation based on a projected budget reduction of 1.3% for 2024 health plan budget would be to maintain current plan design and also maintain employee contributions the same as they are today in 2023, so no increase.
Which is pretty phenomenal.
It's very phenomenal. You do not hear that or see that very often in today's environment. Any questions on health insurance before we move on?
Getting
Okay.
great.
The next component of your employee benefits program is what we call ancillary benefits. So this is your life and accidental death and dismemberment, that's paid for by the library, the long-term disability, and then voluntary dental paid for by employees, voluntary vision, and then the new proposed benefit that Kara mentioned, the voluntary life insurance, if that's approved by the board today. So we went out to 17 insurance companies today. The ancillary package is all with the Anthem Insurance. We went out to 17 other insurance companies to get competitive bidding and pricing, plan design, et cetera. We narrowed it down to Mutual of Omaha and Reliance Matrix, formerly Reliance Standard. They've recently gone through a name change. Both A-rated carriers, solid networks, access whenever people need to use these benefits. The recommendation is to move all ancillary lines of coverage to Reliance Matrix away from Anthem. In doing so, you'll see bulleted through several areas of the plan, the ancillary package that's generated annual savings, both for the library and for those benefits that employees pay 100% of the cost for. From a benefit plan design structure, recommendation to maintain the current life and accidental death and dismemberment benefit level. Recommendation to maintain the current long-term disability benefit and plan design that you have in place. The voluntary vision insurance, again, maintaining current benefit structure, and through Reliance Matrix, the network that employees would access for vision insurance will remain VSB Choice Network. So the same network, just different carrier administrating it. And then the one enhancement on the dental insurance, maintaining all plan design aspects except for the out-of-network reimbursement. The team at the library has heard, and it's common, we're seeing it more and more in just throughout the state of Indiana, any out-of-network reimbursement. So if I go to a dentist who doesn't participate in the network, I can still use my dental benefits, but the reimbursement, the fee schedule that the out-of-network dentist charges eats into my benefit amount quicker than an in-network provider. And it also opens up the possibility of getting a balanced bill. So if my benefit isn't as strong out-of-network, they're charging higher than an in-network provider, and therefore I get the balanced bill on the back end. We did a cost analysis, and the recommendation is to take the out-of-network reimbursement from currently the maximum allowable charge to what's called 90th percent of usual and customary. So they take all the dentists in the area, find the usual and customary charge, and reimburse at the 90th percent, which is almost as equal to in-network bill charges. So significant enhancement and plan for those that use a dentist that's out of network, So that would be the proposed change there, the only change on the voluntary demo. And then, as Kara mentioned, voluntary life insurance, the real point in offering this is, when rolling this out for the first time, they have what's called guarantee issue. So any individual that's tried getting life insurance, sees the value of life insurance out on their own, that may have a medical condition that prevents them from getting any life insurance or additional life insurance outside of what the library pays at an employer level. They can get denied based on, medical evidence of insurability. And so what this voluntary life insurance program will give all employees, including spouses and dependents, the opportunity to do is to get $100,000 guarantee issue for an employee. So no medical underwriting, no questions asked. They don't have to take the full 100, but up to 100,000 guarantee issue. That's huge for a lot of people that may not have, that want more life insurance that haven't been able to get it. For a spouse, it's 25,000 guarantee issue, and then children are covered at a flat $10,000 amount. Because we're buying it on a group basis, it tends to be significantly cheaper than if you were to go out and buy a standalone policy through a State Farm, for example, because we're buying it on a group chassis. So that's the proposed change on the employee benefits program that we handle. Question?
I have one. Does, on this, the life insurance, if a person leaves the employment of the library, is it portable or is it?
It is portable. They have the ability to take it with them, and then they would have to pay their bill directly. Yeah. Good question.
Questions, folks?
I do have one item, Kara just noted that short-term disability was included in your packet. That is something we discussed but are not ready to move forward with, so any motion would exclude short-term disability.
5 o'clock.
So this is a statement of how much?
Annual projected is 20,735 on the health insurance.
Okay. So that-
Because we're self-insured, it's all theoretical.
Right.
Depending on the number of claims that come in any given
Well, but
year.
it's something you don't see anymore today in insurance.
Yeah.
To be actually having premiums go down for anything.
Just to comment, the 15 years that I've been involved here. Huh? Oh, sorry. I said the 15 or so years that I've been involved here, our experience rates have been incredibly low compared to any place I had ever been. It's a healthy population, I guess, but it's been great. Every year it seems like we get good news in this area.
Yeah, you're from a performance standpoint, you perform well. You have a few large claims every year, but that's why we have health insurance. So
Yeah.
Any more questions? So we need a motion to accept this program, am I correct? With the exclusion of
Short-term
short-term disability. We have a motion on the, motion,
So moved.
second?
Second.
So moving properly second that we accept this new health insurance program minus the short-term disability. Question? If not, I will call the roll. I will start with Ann,
Aye.
Ruth,
Hi.
Nicole,
Hi.
Christine,
Aye.
Alan,
Hi.
Terry,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Done. You're welcome. Thank you.
Good job.
Yes, really, I cannot say enough good things about Patrick and the work he's done for the library. He's really taken it beyond just a repeat of last year and really looked at how he could benefit our employees, and I appreciate that.
You, Tracy, I hate you. Code of conduct. Okay,
So we have some recommendations.
yeah, speak up a little more.
We have some recommendations for changes to the code of conduct. And I believe you have the full code of conduct in your packet and the memo. So we would like to add some additional violations that are not specifically included in the current policy. And we also reorganized the policy, the code of conduct a little bit to make it easier to navigate. So the additions would be harassment, sexual or otherwise, of patrons or staff, including name calling, aggressive or demeaning behavior, stalking, unwelcome sexual advances, etc. And violent or threatening behavior of any kind. And the conduct listed here, we don't permit it, and we haven't in the past, and patrons have received suspensions, but it wasn't specifically listed in the code of conduct.
You all have seen this? Yes.
I do have a question. I wondered under the harassment, patrons or staff, and I wondered about board.
Oh.
Good call.
Can that be added in there?
You could make the motion to include that.
Sure.
I move that we include under harassment, along with staff and patrons, board members.
You think it's the right time today?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir.
Just in doing that, there's other places in here where it might be appropriate too. Any behavior which disturbs other library patrons, visitors, or staff, so library patrons, visitors, staff, or board member. I mean, so you may want to, in doing that, just if there's any other places in this policy where it would be appropriate to add. Maybe any place where it says staff or
We'll
board.
have a look at it and insert it where we think, I mean, you're all patrons, but I think then it's
That's
time
true.
to add it.
But it doesn't hurt.
A good idea.
I made a motion. Do I have a second to her motion?
Second,
So it has been moved and seconded that we add board members as part of, and the broad term, I'll use that term, throughout the policy. I will call the roll on this one. Nicole,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Ruth,
Aye.
Nicole, Christine,
aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
and I vote aye. We will add that to that. And then we need to approve the whole code of conduct, am I correct? So, all right, with that addition, do I have a motion to approve the code of conduct?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the 2023 version of the code of conduct. Questions? If not, I will call the roll for a vote. Ruth,
Aye.
Nicole,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So it has been approved, our new code of conduct, which will go into effect
Immediately.
immediately. Very good. Thank you, ma'am. I think I've got change order.
Yes, so we have a couple, I think we've just down to two, which is Precision, which is the windows, so we're still working through the whole window thing. But Indiana Earth has been outstanding since before I started. And we think this is the final change order. And, the change order will then trigger payment of the retainage. And we should be able to close out our account with Indiana Earth.
Our last bill. Our last bill.
No, then we have Precision still.
Oh, okay.
But if you'll recall, because of the issues with the windows, other companies, L&B had to come back and do some repairs to drywall and so forth. So we're waiting for those bills to come in because that will come out of the retainage that Precision, that we owe Precision. So we won't pay for those repairs. Essentially, Precision will pay for those repairs.
Any questions for Stephanie? Okay, I need a motion to approve the change order.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second to approve the change order as presented by Stephanie. Any questions? If not, I will call the roll. Start with Ruth,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Nicole,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
and Terry.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Done deal. Any other business? Do we have an education news or anything? No, okay. At our regular meetings, the public is invited to address the board during the public comment period of the agenda. Individuals may only speak once for 3 minutes during this time. Each individual must use their own allotted time. It cannot be given to another speaker. If you wish to give public comment, you must sign in at the beginning of the meeting. When your name is called, speakers may approach the podium. They shall properly identify themselves by stating their name and address for the record. Personnel issues are not to be addressed during an open session of the library board. Please be respectful during the comment period. This includes not interrupting others and ending your comments when your time is up. Please do not address individuals in the room, only address the board of directors. Since the board acts as a unified body and not as an individual member, the board listens but does not respond to public comments. If you have a public comment, please approach the podium when your name is called, and you'll be given 30 seconds before your time is up. Jennifer?
All right, the first person is Laura Haywood. I'm Laura Haywood. Can you hear me? Or would you like me to turn this on?
Turn it on, please.
Okay, can you hear me now? Better?
You seem to be on phone.
Really? Okay. Yeah, Julia. All right. My name is Laura Haywood, and I live at 1735 West North Shore Drive in South Bend. I participate in the community conversations on reproductive justice, which address all aspects of health related to gender, sexuality, childbearing, and child rearing. 2 statements of sexual misinformation were made during the public comments at the last library board meeting. So I want to correct them on the public record. I only have time for one today, so I'll return next month to address the other. At the September meeting, a speaker presented a hypothetical narrative ascribing a 14-year-old boy's sexual assault on his 7-year-old sister to his having seen a sexually explicit book in the library when he was 10. Books do not cause sexual abuse. As a survivor who was, in fact, sexually abused by my 13-year-old brother when I was 7 years old, I can testify from my experience. Thank you. I can testify from my experience to what the National Institutes of Health has established through research. Children who are sexually abused, whether the abuse is intra or extrafamilial, frequently grow up in adverse family environments. Sexual abuse often co-occurs with physical or emotional abuse or neglect, parental problems with substance abuse, mental illness, economic instability, or domestic violence, and maladaptive family functioning, such as low levels of cohesiveness and high levels of conflict. More than one of these co-occurrences was present in my family, creating an environment conducive to abuse. Sexual abuse also flourishes in the absence of 2 things essential to safe childhood: age-appropriate sexual information, including safe touch, unsafe touch training, and accurately informed adults with whom children can safely and honestly discuss sexual questions and to whom they can immediately report abuse. The misinformation I've corrected reveals a concerning degree of ignorance among adults in our community, and that ignorance directly endangers our children.
30 seconds.
If we do not accurately understand the causes of childhood sexual abuse, then we cannot prevent it. For our children's well-being, we must raise the level of literacy on this topic in St. Joseph County. And the best way to do that is to have accurate age-appropriate information on all aspects of sex and sexuality freely available to all ages in our libraries. I thank the library board for continuing to ensure that we have that. Thank you.
Thank you.
speaker is Eric Jimenez.
I would ask that we keep no applause, please. Thank you.
We should care for not only our kids
Excuse me,
starting.
excuse me.
Yeah.
Name,
Oh, Eric Jimenez.
address,
Okay, we should start caring for our kids and for everyone starting in the library, banning these books. Homosexuality has doubled since 2012 global, porn all-time high, billions of views. Drugs, fentanyl in Mexico, China drug cartels are making $1 trillion a year just applying labs, chemicals to make fentanyl. Drug violence all-time high, demonic possessions, all-time high, COVID caused a worldwide panic. Violent groups in the US and global at all-time high, mental illness, suicide all-time high, abortion, STDs all-time high, the pill, in the Israel war, we won't travel the stars, we won't live forever, it's the beginning of the second coming. If we start banning books like these things, then I'm sure you guys have experienced social things that every generation was bad, but this generation is worse. And if you look at homosexuality, you look at exorcism, everything I said, we won't travel to the stars, we won't have immortality. It just won't exist. It's the beginning of the second coming. Okay, that's it.
thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Cynthia Heckman Davis.
Cynthia Heckman Davis, my address is 125 Gemini Lane, Walker, Indiana. Books are tools for understanding complex issues. Limiting young people's access to books does not protect them from life's complex and challenging issues. Look at all the controversies and challenges we face today. Reading a good book can also be a wonderful way to escape for a few minutes from the controversies we face, or to learn about something totally new to us. The more we read, the more we are able to face difficult or complex situations. We can trust individuals to make their own decisions about what they read and believe. We can trust children and youth in concert with their parents to make their own decisions about what they want to read. I'd like to thank the library board for standing up against censorship. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next speaker is Joyelle McSweeney.
Hi, I'm Joyelle McSweeney at 628 Park Avenue, Pacific Park. So the last time we were all here together, I spoke about a very sad story of something that happened in my family when we lost a child. Then my living children and I found refuge here at the library, and in reading books from the YA section that we were maybe not even the intended readership for, but how the sensitivity we found there offered us refuge and solace. Now I'm going to tell a little bit of a different story about something that happened just this weekend. It's about a time when my child got a hold of some materials that I really thought was a little unfortunate, and here's how it went. It was not in the youth section, but upstairs in the public, just in a public area near the library. There was some near the elevator banks, there was just some browsing material. And my little 4-year-old was just a couple steps ahead of me, and he picked it up because it had a deer on the front, and he was excited to read it. And when he opened it, of course, there were knives and guns, and it was a hunting magazine. So I took it away from him when I did catch up to him. And he said, well, why did you take that from me? I want to read it, Mom. And I said, it goes against the values of our family to have hunting, because we feel that it hurts and kills animals in a way that is not necessary. It goes against the values of our family. And of course, he carried on because then he really wanted to see it. And I said, well, if you really want to see it, I want you to think about it and let me know. And then me and Dad will sit down and talk about it. And we can talk about when might be the right time for you to look at magazines like that. And of course, he wasn't thrilled about that either. I could say the gears turning because I had to know he was interested in it, but he did accept, this is something we'll talk about together if it's important to you. And believe it or not, he let me lead him out of the library so we could go have lunch. It's a 4-year-old. So, why am I telling this story today? Did I then run to the front desk and request that all hunting materials, all hunting magazines be removed from the library? No. Did I call a national group like PETA and say, my hair is on fire, meet me in the library, we can't have hunting materials? No. Did I ask that it be put behind a desk so that hunters could ask for it, or teenagers interested in hunting could ask for it, but my little child would not dare learn about hunting? No. I just had a conversation with my child about how that was not something his mother felt was appropriate for him. And if he wanted to talk about it more, we could, after he had given it a little bit more thought. So I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not a perfect parent. Obviously, I made a mistake. I let him get ahead of me, and I made it seem really interesting by saying no, don't recommend that. But I do recommend that if there's things that are against your values, you talk to your own child about it in an age-appropriate way, you continue to have the conversation, you let them lead by their interest, and you stand firm. And that's how you use a public library. Thank you.
And the next speaker is Ryan Hill.
Ryan Hill, 2634 Tamarack Place in Indiana. Nice to see everyone here. I wanted to say thank you to the board. I actually had to go to the River Park kind of outreach session you all had. It was a great discussion on kind of the library, community centers and community focus. And there were some good ideas there. So I just did want to start with saying thank you for that kind of community outreach. It matters to have those spaces in the neighborhoods that are not places where we have to pay or deal with, those kind of things. I also want to thank earlier, Laura really nailed what one of the things that I was going to talk about was just the basic look at kind of the issues and information disparity. There's a lot of people who've talked about the availability of certain books for kids that are rated at a certain age as potential sources of abuse, but the primary cause of abuse, whether it is financial, whether it is physical, whether it's sexual, whether it's political, is lack of information. When people do not understand, they do not know kind of the different ways they can be taken advantage of, in any of those areas, they can open themselves up to a lot of harm. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are advocating for the idea that they can't have those conversations with their kids. Which, as we know, a lot of stories of abuse start with, I didn't know what was happening. And most of these books that people are complaining about are written by people who've gone through that, trying to answer those questions for some of the kids that can't go to their parents. So I'm very happy to see that the banned books, again, have a table up front for anyone who needs them, and for anyone who doesn't, they can keep on walking and get some nice scary books. But I just want to thank you all again for sticking with this and making sure things are available and that the library remains a source to fight those information disparities at the level and the interest and the availability of the person looking for it, regardless of age or other factors. So thank you very much.
We thank you for your public comments. Oops, I read myself. Our next meeting is November 27th here at 4:15, St. Joseph Public Library. Public is invited. We thank you for coming this afternoon and enjoy your day. Meeting is adjourned.